he has been extensively working on science, and especially science communication, with a particular focus on the repercussions of new technologies in the global economy. Besides, he is also an advisor to the Italian government to lead, or actually is leading the communication office of a prestigious National Committee for Biosafety, Biotechnologies and Life Sciences. And I think the main reason why you're here is that you initiated a new initiative last year. You launched a journalism project related to climate change topics in collaboration with the Venice Center for Climate Studies, and the project is called Adaptation, and it aims to describe the way humans are already adapting to climate change, either from a social or a technological perspective. Now, your contribution is titled The Critical Role of Communication to Create Awareness for Building with Nature and Adaptation. It's not called a presentation, but it's called an intermezzo. So I really look forward to what you're going to share with us. Okay. The floor is yours.
I'm a bit out of my own crowd today, but it's okay for me, hopefully for you as well. Let's see. So I believe in communication. I believe communication is an essential tool to inform and engage many different communities all over the world. I mean, medias, broad public, stakeholders, entrepreneurs, politicians, all of them. So, a few months ago, my staff and me were thinking of telling stories about climate change, but from a quite new perspective: climate change adaptation, with a quite new journalistic product, a webdoc. A webdoc it's a complex digital journalistic product embedding pictures, videos, documentations, animations, infographic, aerial and satellite images. So that was the big fight between the so-called frightening journalism against constructive journalism. We wanted to follow the way of the constructive journalism. We want to give out solutions, good messages, instead of frightening messages, as all the international medias do every day of our life. So that's why we started working on this big project, very huge, difficult, and long-lasting project called Adaptation Project. And so we first grabbed and obtained some media partnerships, really important. National Geographic, maybe all of you know this magazine, Geo, Illustrated Videnskap, BBC Science, and so on. This is the official logo of our project. So this is just a narrative on our project. This is one of our symbols, one of my favorite pictures. Of course, it was shot on the mudflat in West Oak. So please go straight to the webdoc, so I will show you some of our work. Of course, this is a static version because we had a problem with connecting at internet, but it's very responsive and user-friendly, I can grant it. Okay, so please scroll it up. So our first issue was totally focused on the Netherlands and your way to manage waters and to deal with flood risks and sea level rise risk. I was absolutely surprised from your way to do that and to manage it. So we took a lot of interesting pictures in different parts of your wonderful country, and we also shot some videos. After I will launch a video, just 2 minutes video. And so the simple concept of building with nature was really new for me, I think for Italians as well, and for most of the people I've dealt with in these months. Is an absolutely revolutionary concept. So that matches with my concept of constructive journalism. That was my best opinion on this. This is also, Manfred, please scroll down. I'm sorry for the static copy, but you can see nice pictures we shot all over Netherlands, just to tell a good story to the people, just to give them a hope instead of frightening them. That is our driver, always our driver. So this is just the first section of 3 sections we have in our Dutch part of the webdoc. And this section is called Building with Nature. So we showcased some stories about this program you have here. The animation, of course, is static as well. I'm sorry. This is the sand motor, of course. Okay, I think you can stop here. Let's go to the video. Just a very quick 2 minutes video.
Into the future, maybe centuries ahead, but we expect sea level rise to change an additional 5 meters or 10 meters or maybe even 20 meters. And the question is, what are we going to do then? How are we going to respond? Actually, I think that the Dutch will not retreat and go inland or move towards Germany or Poland or wherever. I think we will defend our country. We are kind of a water lion that is fighting against the water. So we will try to defend it, we will try to heighten our dunes, make it wider, make it stronger. There is a paradigm shift. We are now no longer looking into these technical measures with concrete and dams, but we're really looking into working with the natural processes and with natural materials. So that's really unique in the world, that our climate change adaptation strategies are based on the natural processes and no longer concrete structures. If we succeed, that's another story. Of course, I cannot predict the future, but maybe in the year 2800, we say, okay, that's enough. We cannot fight no longer. This 15-meter sea level rise was too high for us. But up till that point, we are going to use our natural systems and try to keep our country safe.
Go back to the presentation, please. Okay, so one day I read an article in a very popular Italian newspaper claiming that in the last 6 or 7 years we had at least 50,000 people displaced from their own houses and also 200 dead. So it was totally unacceptable for me as a citizen first and as a journalist after. So that's why I tested myself in this big operation, this big webdoc. And also I dealt with some other public bodies in Italy and abroad who represented me their need to have a platform communicating adaptation issues. So that's why I made a big meeting in Rome, in our Senate of Italian Republic. I have invited the ambassador of the Netherlands who joined us and who really loved our project. So we are building bridges, very good bridges. Maybe not business-oriented as you do, but very important bridges in terms of global moral suasion and global awareness about adaptation-related issues. After that, I was absolutely pushed by those public institutions, but also private, to make a second step. after the journalistic first step of my web doc, we will probably setting up a digital communication platform totally dedicated to the adaptation issues. So it means that many important subjects, like the World Economic Forum, I met some days ago in Milan, which is going to have its own global initiative climate change committee, steering committee, request me for being featured on my upcoming digital platform, because they really believe that adaptation project could help us in displaying their messages all over the world. As well as Milan. You have heard the presentation of Piero Pellizzaro, which is the Milan city manager, the sharing cities cluster. So we are also negotiating for bringing Milan in our project, to having them on board. We hope we can succeed. And also Italia Sicura, which is I can say, the only public body we have in Italy which is trying to make something on the way to let be the adaptation possible in our cities in Italy. So, all of them believe in adaptation projects. We are trying to, of course, build it up in a fast way. It's not very easy because, as I said at the very beginning of my presentation, it's very an improving project, a challenging project. So, of course, we will try to go straight onto our objective, onto our goal, our main goal, to inform people, to inform other medias, to inform all the stakeholders all over the world. And we are right now looking for, of course, investments. We are now be under funding of many different bodies all over the world. We will see what will happen in the future. That's all for me. So I want to say thank you for your interest in my work.
Very nice. I'm sure there are one or two questions. To Marco? Oh, there's one already. Thank you. Yeah, very nice. Sorry, I forgot the system. For which part of Italy do you first want to give hope on adaptation? Where will you start?
All right.
Nice question.
Oh, that's a good point. The thing is, maybe you know that we have a lot of emergencies in Italy. I mean, in terms of hydrogeological emergencies, earthquakes, sea level rise risk, so a lot of things. I can say probably, I don't know, Venice, for its ancient problems with its own lagoon, unsolved problems, I can say, not really solved. Or maybe, I don't know, Rome, because we have really a worst management of our waters in the city. Maybe you haven't seen Rome after a heavy rain. It's like a pool, a big pool. So I think we have very big problems. So this is just to mention two of the most important cities we have. But I think that all the country and all Italians must be informed about the possibility and the solutions that you are testing here. So I can say your pilots are my stories.
Nice. And Giovanni Cecconi is here, so talking about Venice.
I can comment.
Do you agree? No.
So I had to come to Netherlands.
Good morning. Yes, I'm here in headset from the Delta team.
And the University of Venice Ca' Foscari is one of my former and my first endorsers, so that's a bit strange.
Very good.
Venice is a laboratory by itself, and we have a very good example of adaptation with accretion landscape in dune system and salt marshes. And we have been building more than 200 constructed salt marsh and shoal that exhibit the adaptation that you were showing in this very large tidal flood. So Venice is very connected, very concentrated, very complex, and a very good window and arena of adaptation for all the world, I think. So we can make a big job.
Great. I will travel out to Venice as soon as possible.
Very good, and I'm very glad that we could help in setting up the link between Italian partners all the way through the Netherlands. I suggest we leave it here, but we also have a little thank you for you. With very nice pictures from the Rule of the River project. I'm sure you will like this. Thanks a lot for your contribution, Marco, to the conference. You're welcome. Giovanni, famous last word? Hold on, one second, Giovanni.
Curiosity on bridging and pairing Venice and Netherlands. In 1700, Zendrini, a Venetian mathematician from the Venice Republic, went to Amsterdam to rediscover the pozzolanic cement, because it was lost, this knowledge, for centuries, even though we made, at Roman time, we did a lot of harbor with the pozzolanic cement. And so the Venice seawall of 1700 was reinvented coming to Netherlands. So this is the value of connectivity.
Right. So reinventing history here. Thank you very much.